DHEA is not an anti-aging hormone. They actually even call it more of a youthful hormone. The reason why they call it a youthful hormone is this. If they call it youthful because they say it increases till about the age 30 and then drops dramatically. I disagree with that. I disagree with that fully. So let's say this. When you look at anything, when a lot of doctors will do this, a lot of doctors will say that testosterone gets lower as you get older. No, it doesn't. Testosterone dramatically decreases as you get older because you're sick. You can keep great testosterone levels your whole life. You can actually keep extremely good DHEA levels actually your whole life, except for here's what happens. The DHEA, and I'm going to go through this in great detail, where it's produced from, guess what? That organ has very high demands, so it goes, okay, I got to survive or I produce this DHEA. And we're going to show you that. We're going to show you why the difference. This is why the Wellness Way approach is so unique, because we don't look at it like everybody else does. Well, doc, my doctor and researchers say, yeah, I don't care what your doctor and researchers say, because number one, they're looking at it from the wrong perspective. Like I said, the Wellness Way has become a very strong clinical brand because we do look at it differently that way. And I don't care what their medical research says and stuff like that, because I can prove them wrong, very simple, from a lab. All right, so here we go. So Fancy Nancy, you ready?
Ready.
And just before we get there, Fancy Nancy and I and the crew, we've been videoing things all day today. We're heading up to Iron Mountain, Michigan today. So once again, you may not watch this video till a year later. But I want you to do is we're going to go and do our wonderful job at the Living Hormone Connection. Hormone Connection seminar up in Iron Mountain. We're excited to do it because as soon as we're done here, we're heading out. Okay. So where do we start? Here we go. So DHEA, number one, it's the most abundant hormone in the body, by far. It's the most abundant hormone in the body. Now, there's two forms. There's the DHEA and there's DHEA-S, which stands for sulfonated form that way. But what happens is they both represent and have a very significant part of the body. But here's the cool thing. Number one, okay, made the adrenals, testes, and the brain. Okay? Big thing is this. The majority, especially in women, the majority is made by their adrenals. If not, I think only thing I can really find is maybe maximum 10% are produced in other areas of the body, but really for women, the adrenals produce the majority of the DHEA. Also in men, we can get a little bit more from our testicles that way and stuff like that, so we get a little bit of production there. Now, let's stop right there. Let's stop right there. Okay, understand this. Let's always step back so you can understand. The adrenals. So I want you to think about this. The youthful hormone. The hormone that, for example, that they talk about creates our anti-aging. No, it just doesn't let us age as fast, okay? The hormone that really does a significant job with us that way, that keeps us in that young state, actually is produced by our adrenals. Now, why do I want you to get that? Ladies, I want you to especially get that. I want you to understand this because here's what happens. If you put a significant amount of stress on your body, let me explain how. Mental stress. Mental stress. The adrenals can only do so much. So if you have a high amount of mental stress, it's going to age you significantly faster. See, there is no anti-aging. It's, listen, don't age much faster than you're supposed to age. Okay? So the idea, for example, when women are, and both men too, because men actually, it affects them in the very similar ways. But here's this. That mental stress will age you significantly that way. Number two, here's what happens. Okay? If you eat something bad, your adrenals have to compensate with it with cortisol and cortisone, just like a lot of sugar. Okay, a lot of people don't realize this. Now I'm gonna have Dr. Jason come and do this significantly. But what happens is this: when you look at blood sugar, people are so big into insulin when it comes to blood sugar. That's not really true. Insulin controls it going into a cell. What controls your blood sugar within your bloodstream is actually cortisol, an adrenal hormone. So you're pumping in a ton of sugar. Yeah, your pancreas has to work, but your adrenals have to work 10 times harder to make sure that you don't have too much sugar in the blood. Physical stress. Guys, as a chiropractor, guess what? What do? We remove that physical stress. We are great stress relievers physically that way. Women, you guys hold a lot of stress where? In your neck. Now, I focus a lot on women because why? Because women deal with a lot more stressors than guys do. I know guys hate to hear that, but we can deal with it better because our testosterone is not affected by it that way. So just understand, there's the big connection. Ladies, significant amount of your DHEA is made by your adrenals. So therefore, if a lot of stress goes to your body, yes, by the time you're 30 years old, I understand why your DHEA crashes like crazy. Because Because by that time, you're doing everything bad to your body. You have a bunch of kids. You're mad at your husband. Your job sucks. And guess what? I guess your hormones would drop too if you lived your life like that. Nancy's kind of laughing because Nancy was actually just talking yesterday. I have to tell a funny story about Nancy. Guys, let me tell you. I know I'm always going to educate you the best, but I got to tell you real life stories too. Nancy was getting done at the end of the day yesterday, and I said, I'm like, Fancy Nancy, how was your day? And what'd you say, Nancy? It's a great day when you're always doing things that impact people that way. She wasn't, like she said, every day. She just said it again right there. It's kind of cool when you're making an impact on people. It's not that we don't go 100 miles an hour and sometimes get a little stressful. Trust me, I will stress most people out, okay? Some old people stress out, just listen to me because I talk fast. All right, but it's kind of cool things this. I try to create that work environment so there's not a lot of stress that way, okay? Like I said, I think our stress comes from busyness, if anything, that way, because we have thousands of people email us and thousands of people always get messages to us that way, and we all get back to you as quickly as possible. But the cool thing is this, I understand why the hormone, why they say that it starts to dramatically decrease in the later 20s, early 30s. Yeah, you know something? I can tell you right now, it's because women are getting sicker at a much younger age. That's why they change some of the ranges that way, all right? So just understand, a significant amount, once again, made in the adrenals, testicles, and the brain. I'm going to hit the brain more towards in a couple of steps that way, but that's a big key right there. DHEA has a significant amount to do with your memory that way, okay? See, it doesn't build neurons, but it has a very strong on how they work. Now, the cool thing is this. As you know, it's very important to us as docs. It's very important to us as practitioners that we understand that the two best ways to measure it, and you want to do it in combination, is blood and urine. Blood and urine, okay? You can measure it by the saliva, but it's not really that great and accurate in the saliva that way. But the idea is this. Blood and urine are the two best venues to do it. I'm going to show you a test of a very interesting case, okay? Now, next, number 2. It's forgotten about, all right? What do I mean? Well, remember, if you ever read about DHEA, they talk so much about anti-aging. That's why you see a lot of celebrities, Suzanne Summers included. Once again, really do that to keep their youthfulness, all right? So that's why it's quite well known. Number 2, for example, it's a precursor hormone. See, you'll see this medically. You got to be careful with this. Is you notice, for example, cholesterol changes into pregnenolone. Pregnenolone changes into DHEA. But then this hormone, which you'll learn when we get to estrogens next week, it converts into our estrogens and testosterone, things like that. It's a precursor hormone. So here's one thing that happens. That's why if you say, Doc, you're right, anti-aging, I want to age properly, I'm going to start taking DHEA. A lot of people do that without measuring it, and they get too high DHEA levels, and they'll say, but one of the major precautions is cancer. You're saying, hold the phone, you just went from it actually is for youthful aging to cancer. Well, yeah, because it's not an end-stage hormone. It's used up for that, but if those levels get high, some very significant things can happen to the body. That's why you got to be careful about taking hormones. That's why you got to be very careful about taking supplements that are actually DHEA, because if it's not measured properly, that supplement can give you cancer. Actually, Nancy, that's a good quote right there. Yep. That's a really good quote right there. You know what I'm saying? You got to be careful with your supplements because that supplement right there can give you cancer. Why? Because if you take DHEA at 100 milligrams over the course of time and within 3 months and your levels are above 400, you're going to turn estrogen and testosterone higher. Guys, you're going to end up with prostate cancer, and ladies, you're going to end up with breast cancer. You're going to end up with bad cycles and things like that. You got to be, see, that's where the motto is so important. We don't guess, we test. Be tested properly that way. So, what's next? Well, osteoporosis. How can DHEA have a contribution to osteoporosis? Because once again, DHEA has a major effect on the estrogen levels. And ladies, let me tell you this. Vitamin D and estrogen levels have more importance on bone health than calcium ever does. Guys, I could chew on this table, this wood right here, when Ross put this table together, and get calcium. Almost everything you eat, I don't care if it's even a candy bar, which you don't need a candy bar, but even candy bar has calcium in. It's not a calcium issue. It's a hormone issue. Vitamin D, estrogens, actually insulin, all those hormones have a very big effect on osteoporosis or how your bones develop that way. Number 4, and there's a big one, okay? It's a neurosteroid. See, here's what happens. It's more than a sex hormone. Because if you notice, I've talked about pregnenolone. I've talked about progesterone. I've talked about, now DHEA. Well, the one thing I want you guys to remember is this. Yes, there is a hormonal component that you understand about these things of our sex hormones, for reproductions, for cycles, for sexual health, for growth. But you understand, all of these hormones have a major effect neurologically. See, that's one thing, like tonight at the Hormone Connection Seminar. Medicine has done a very bad job of relating the fact that, number one, these hormones can actually have a major effect on your brain, so therefore they have antidepressants for you. Do you understand that low DHEA can cause depression? Do they ever measure DHEA? Nope. Do they ever measure estrogens or progesterones? Nope. But see what they do, they have no problem running to you and pumping you full of some psychiatric medication trying to alter your brain when they didn't realize that, and remember, and they don't realize, I'm saying that right now, they do not realize because they're not taught that way, they don't think like this. But it's classified. I didn't classify it, they did. It's classified as a neurosteroid, okay? It's more than just the sexual reproduction and sexual hormones that way. They're actually used massively for the brain. That's why DHEA, if you really look at a lot of research they're doing now, they're looking at in the cases of Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, dementia, all those characteristics that way. They're even looking at as depression, which we all know this. But once again, when you can replace it with a supplement, when you replace it with a food, you can't really patent a good drug when you can replace it more naturally that way. All right? Now, Nancy, I know we got a lot of people on here. Before we go next slide, Dr. Beth Cook, Dr. Kaylina, Samantha, I will see you tonight at the Hormone Talk. Teresa, nice to see you guys. Thank you, Amanda, for the compliment of amazing information. I think, Nancy, that we have to figure out something we can do right now for our giveaway. Because, oh my goodness, we have the box. We have the box, okay? The box is here now. We're going to start filling it when me and Fancy Nancy and Ross and my wife and Bree head up to Iron Mountain. We'll have Brandon start filling the box of all the names that are going to be there. So by Tuesday's show, you can see it that way. So how can we get somebody in the box today, okay? Well, let's come up with something that'll be kind of cool, but I may have to think about it for a moment. But let's make it controversial, okay? But let me think about that. So let's go on to number 3. So here we go. People realize that it's banned. It's actually banned by most athletic, especially in professional sports. And actually the anti-doping agencies from across the world actually banned DHEA. Once again, they banned DHEA because it's an anabolic sex steroid hormone. That means there's growth and development, okay? And you actually can take too much and actually have more strength and more endurance. The only bad part is that's why when you saw this before, when they were given illegal steroids, these guys would end up with cancer. Yeah, why? Because once again, it can transform into their hormones and now actually develop cancer that way. Even though they didn't take the actually testosterone or estrogens that way, you can take DHEA with a cream, either synthetically or actually even bioidentically, and you can see massive performance. No joke, literally, at 1 o'clock today, I have a Packer player coming in that texted me last night, wants to see me. Okay, if I actually test this guy, which I will, but if I actually test this man, and all of a sudden he actually is low in DHEA, no joke, even if he's low, I have to do everything to build up that testosterone DHEA normally, without even supplementing with DHEA. Otherwise, he could lose his job. Because once again, as you can see, it's listed on the banned substance list. It's listed on a banned substance list. So if I have a professional athlete and we take care of them all over the country and stuff like that, guess what happens? There's a very strong list that they can't do it this way. Well, the great thing is this, though. We know how to build up the DHEA levels from different processes without even giving a good organic supplementation of DHEA. So there's multiple ways of doing it that way. That's our expertise. Now, obviously, he's putting a high demand on his body and stressing it out, and that's why his DHEA levels are dropping that way. But we're going to actually do a good job of building up. But, once again, it's going to be kind of nice to see him, what's going to happen. But once again, from the whole doping, the World Anti-Doping Agency in all athletics and Olympics, so once again, this is what they base the Olympics on. We know the Winter Olympics is going on right now, that guess what? It's an illegal substance that way. People would be kicked out of Olympics or people would be kicked out of the professional sports if it was used. All right? Now, I can see everybody's itching at going, Doc, how do we get it in the drawing? Okay, so here's what I want you to do. Okay? What I want you guys to do, why don't we make the comment? I want you guys to do this. Tell me, what's you? Something favorite, something positive, Fancy Nancy. What should we do?
Something positive.
Something really cool. Okay, here we go. I'll do this. For example, so I've been working out and I've been fasting and doing stuff that way. And yes, I do have a large t-shirt on, not extra large. So it's kind of funny. You guys know how sorry I'm vulnerable and share everything that way. I hate working out, but I'm doing it. And everything. So long story short is this. My favorite food is actually fish. I actually love seafood, okay? I love just a simple white fish. You know what I'm saying? I get to go to Hawaii coming up for our event that way. So please do me a favor. I want you to post in there, what is your favorite food, okay? And if it's a Snickers bar, I'm going to slap you, okay? It's got to be what's your favorite healthy food. And it's kind of neat because next Saturday's quick tip I'm going to actually do on goji berries, which is one of my favorite snacks, okay? So the idea is this. Tell me what one of your favorite foods are, and Brandon's going to be here today working, and what he's going to do is he's going to work, and he's going to actually put those in the box for you guys, so we see next Tuesday that way. So put your favorite food in the thing that way, and we'll put you another name in the drawing that way. So just let you guys know, for popping on here live and making a comment, you already get one part in. If you put your favorite food in that you'd like to eat, guess what happens? We'll throw in your name one more time. All right, last part of my living hormoniously. Okay, guys, think about this. This is going to be a little different. You won't hear this anywhere else, and that's not a sales pitch. You won't hear this anywhere else because they don't think like this and they don't approach it. So let me take a little sip of water here because there's a little history on this explanation. If I were to share with you the things I see in a day, sometimes it's mind-blowing. Sometimes you wouldn't even believe it if my other staff members wouldn't experience it that way. So this is a young girl that came in, okay? She was 8 years old, all right? Now what happens this? This is not the only time this has happened. I can honestly tell you in practice, this has probably happened to me just in my clinical practices alone, probably well over 100 times. This was an 8-year-old girl who started to menstruate. Okay, I'm pausing because there should be some sadness there. There's no reason why an 8-year-old girl should ever menstruate. Okay, once again, but what happens is this, her body was forced into menstruation. I'll show you how, all right? But when you look at this, what happens, one of the major hormones that induces actually a cycle is DHEA. A lot of people say, well, it's estrogens. That's not really true, okay? Estrogens are, for example, an effect and a precursor of DHEA. So therefore, guess what? DHEA getting at a high level can actually do what? Can actually induce menstruation. Now, I want to give you a little history here. This is the tough part. Once again, I won't use a name. I'm not going to do it. I would never do that because it violates laws, but I'm saying I'm not going to use a name. But I want you to think about this. I had a patient come in, okay? 8 years old, started to menstruate. The mother asked me, said, how did this happen? First thing I asked her is really interesting. I started talking about her health history. No joke. I will just say this. I'm not being mean. This patient is still a patient of mine. I told her I was going to talk about this. She doesn't know. I told her I'm not mentioning her name. She's changed things dramatically. But when I first met her, and this is being a doc, guys, this is not a joke. I want you to share it real life. So I looked at her. Almost everything was fake on her. From her boobs to her face, plastic surgery, everything. Okay? So I knew this girl had to do some cosmetic things. I knew, for example, that she was intensely about her looks. And I said to her, I said, so let's go back here. When you were pregnant, did you take any hormones? Nope. When you were pregnant or breastfeeding, did you take any supplementation? She goes, I've taken supplementation for 20 years. Guess what she took while pregnant and why actually breastfeeding? DHEA. You know what I'm saying? She took it, for example, during the child's development and pregnancy that way. Now, it's interesting. So what ended up happening is, so obviously the daughter, she's 8 years old. Yes, but she set the stage that way, okay? And people say, Doc, you're making a speculation. I can be speculative all you want. I'll give you a ton of these things when these young girls have things. There's things that happen to them when they're young. And then, guess what ended up happening? Literally, 3 months before this young lady started to cycle, the parents went through a very bad divorce. So the young lady started counseling because she was extremely stressed. So let's think about this. Her body was already probably pre-programmed with the high DHEA levels, and then guess what? A lot of mental stress for an 8-year-old, and guess what happened? So I measured her DHE levels. Once again, they were almost double what they should have been. Right here. That's her lab. They're almost double what they should have been, and they induced that menstruation on this little girl. See, a lot of times, for example, ladies out there, what you do is you actually have some cyclic changes, and yes, you even get estrogen measured. You usually don't measure all of them. Get some progesterone measured, and they're fine, and you don't know why your cycle is off. You don't know why you're depressed, because they're missing this hormone. They're missing it, for example, because it's more important in anti-aging medicine than it is in actually clinical medicine today. So this poor young girl at 8 years old was induced in there because her DHEA was elevated that way. Sad part is this, it was very tough for her when she started menstruating, because I saw her after about 7 months of menstruation because her mom was very frustrated and upset that she was having a cycle at 8 years old. Now, once again, it was interesting because we started to actually drop those levels down and started to actually detox them out, and actually she stopped menstruating. And the funny part is this, she is now 13 and she still hasn't had a cycle yet. Thank God. Do you know what I'm saying? So that was kind of cool. Now, once again, what did I do? And it's really funny. Now, here's the funny thing is this. When doctors don't have an answer for something, they blame your genetics. That's what they told her. Because she didn't come see us first. What she did was this. She actually went to the doc. They took her and she went to an OB, an endocrinologist, and they couldn't find anything wrong. Well, they couldn't find anything wrong because they didn't test her properly. Once again, which that is the basis for what the Wellness Way stands for and what we do. And then so I measured it properly. Yes, all the hormones that they measured were basically the same when I measured them that way. They just didn't completely test her. And then they said, listen, everything is normal, so it's just her genes. Genetically, she was going to menstruate regardless if anything was wrong or not. So it's really funny. I started to get her hormones back into balance, and I must have changed her gene pool because still today, 5 years later, she's not menstruating. Yes, that was a stupid joke, but you get how dumb the answers that they give out, and they act like it's fact. Really, it would have been a better answer and give the mother a chance to look for something different just by saying, I have no freaking clue. Doctors don't do that. You know what I'm saying? So that was frustrating. Not frustrating now. She's doing wonderful. She's a 13-year-old young lady that way. It's kind of cool. I get to see her about every 6 months, check her hormone levels. She's still at nice hormone levels that way for a young lady. And when she gets her cycle, I'm hoping they elevate nicely like they're supposed to. And I believe she'll actually not go through the PMS symptoms that most young ladies do. All right? So that's the big thing, for example. Guys, when you look at DHEA, it's kind of a cool hormone. Because why? Because it has such a array effect on the body because it can convert to massive other hormones. But even as DHEA itself, it has a major effect on the body from neurological to reproductive to memory, how our skin and how we all age, our bones, everything that way. It's a really cool hormone. Nice thing is this. Do me a favor. You need to get it tested. You need to get it tested yearly. Because once again, if it's the anti-aging hormone, as it drops, guess what happens? It's going to increase your aging. Do you see what I'm saying? See, what happens is this. Let's not call it, an anti-aging hormone. Let's just call it, for example, what it is. It's a hormone. And if it gets low, you're going to progressively age faster than you were actually genetically supposed to. So when you actually get those levels back, people say, now I've had this, people say this, Doc, my DHEA levels are getting normal and I actually look and I feel better. No, you don't. You look and feel normal. You're not better. You're not reversing aging. You're not anti-aging. You're going back to normal. And that's what you need to understand, ladies and gentlemen. Most people are not normal. Most people are living unhormoniously. Okay? Nancy, love this hormone. I had to end on a sad story, but it turned out great. Any questions there, Fancy Nancy?
Yes, there are a number of them.
Okay, let's start.
Don't they put this in prenatal vitamins and formula?
Actually, they do. And if they do, be careful. That's like that woman that was doing that. I asked her if during pregnancy she was taking DHEA. She was taking, yes, it's in prenatals and it's in formula. Nancy, can they hear you? Do I have to repeat it?
I think they can hear me.
Okay. can everybody give me hey, do me a favor, guys, everybody that's watching. Put a bunch of thumbs up if you can hear Nancy on that question. I want to make sure because it's very important. Give me a thumbs up. Hit a bunch of thumbs likes. I can't see it till it's delayed, so yeah. How are we doing, Nancy? Are they giving you some thumbs up? Or somebody type in, I can hear Nancy. Okay?
If you hear me, yes.
There we go.
Yes.
Here we go. So yes, but see, that's the thing is this. I will tell you right now, the Wellness Way itself, with the help of our docs, with the help of other docs across the country, we're putting together the best prenatal care for women. We are. Nicole Selesky has done an amazing job for the prenatal stuff that way. You guys, you got to be very careful what you do during pregnancy. Ladies, you got to be careful in general. I've always said this in great detail. Medicine is really barbaric for women. You want to get sick? Go to the doctor, ladies. They're going to make you sick. They're going to throw a bunch of chemicals, hormones, rip your organs out, tell you're depressed, and a lot of times you're really normal. Okay? Fancy Nancy, what we got? I want to say hi to a couple people. Guy Wolf just jumped on. Michelle Tees. Hello, Michelle from California. Love you, girl. You're awesome. Jean, Pete, thank you for popping on. Tina. Actually, it's kind of funny. I got to tell a fun story about Michelle Tees. Okay? Not anything clinically, Michelle. You're good. Okay? But Michelle is kind of cool. Michelle actually is very big into health. And when she was actually got advice about her family and what the doctors wanted to do, she's like, no, I'm not doing that. She was strong enough. She was a very strong woman to take her health into her control. And now she has a health business. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of cool. So, Michelle, thank you for staying up for what's right. Thank you for doing what's right with your kids. Tell your husband I said hi. He's a wonderful man. And you guys said, and you're enjoying the nice California weather when it's cold out here. Okay? She's from here, but she moved to California. So, what you got,
All right,
Fancy Nancy?
Amanda says, after pregnancy or miscarriage, could DHEA be lowered enough to cause postpartum depression?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because here's what happens. Think of it this way. The adrenals have to really produce at a high level during pregnancy. They got to produce a lot of hormone. So sometimes they become fatigued, and then when the baby comes, it drops and DHEA level drops, and it can contribute massively to postpartum. Plus, DHEA, once again, well, a lot of people say, guess what, doc? Estrogen drops massively when you're pregnant. That's not true. Certain estrogens drop when you're pregnant. E4 skyrockets. Most of you guys don't know what E4 is, okay? But the idea is this. So once again, it puts a massive drain on your DHEA during pregnancy. So once again, if the adrenals are not supported, that's why I give things for women during pregnancy so they don't go through postpartum depression and keep their hormones balanced while they're there. Great question, Amanda. Hello, Vani. Nice to see you, my sweetie. And stuff like that. Nice.
Mariah says, how do we have hope when we know our adrenals are shot without getting cancer?
How do you have hope? Find a doc that knows what he's doing. I mean it sincerely. I don't want anybody to pay me money. But you want something, darn it? We're darn good at what we do, and you're not going to get it anywhere else. You need to find a doc. You really do. Because all you have to do, keep it inexpensive. Test your adrenals, find out your stressors, keep them balanced. That's that simple. Now, no, wrong. Ladies, I feel sorry for you. I talked about this before. There's a lot of abuse out there with women. It's hard. There's a lot of abuse with relationships. There's a lot of abuse with a lot of things that way. So the amount of stress that you guys have on. Ladies, just having a good life, you have a lot of stress. My wife, who has a very good life, who's a wonderful woman, actually has a lot of stress. Why? Because she's a woman. Do you understand? Because they care about everything. I care about nothing because I'm a guy. You understand? We can focus on one thing. My wife thinks about 100 things. And she's a great woman. We have a great life and things like that. But she puts a lot of burden on herself being a mother. She puts a lot of burden on herself being a wife. I don't know why. I tell her not to, but I know she cares about every little detail that way. So, once again, ladies, you're kind of behind the 8 ball, so you need a doctor that guides you that way. That's not a sales pitch to say, listen, how are we doing? How are we doing for health for women out there? It's horrible, okay? But there's simple things that you can do. There's so many simple, cost-effective things you can do that way. All right? Great question.
Right. Along those same lines, what is the first test to take, and how do you test your adrenals?
Remember, the adrenals, for example, have a rhythm, okay? You can actually get just a saliva test of your adrenals and have it done anywhere. You can even Google adrenal testing. You don't have to get it from us, but we have it. All our wellness ways have it. You can buy it online. You can buy it on our online store that way to get it that way. You can get, I like to do this. I like the Dutch test because you get it through the urine. You can do it. You can correlate it with blood once again, but you don't want to give blood 4 times in a day. So usually your blood is a 1 sample marker. So you can do it by saliva, urine, or blood. Blood being the last one because once again, blood you only going to get 1 sample. You don't want to get 4 samples in a day that can raise your stress levels. Okay. I like the Dutch test because you encompass female hormones with the stress hormones, or get a saliva test done, which once again can be done anywhere. You can even buy them online with by a very good CLIA certified lab and have a wonderful lab. Okay. But always remember this, ladies. Always remember this. It measures your stress hormones. Then it's the job of you and your doctor to find out where the stressors are coming from. Okay? Great question.
How do we detox our adrenal system?
You can't detox your adrenal system. So repeat that question again.
How do we detox our adrenal system? Yeah.
Wait, let's answer this way. You know how to not put a lot of stress on your adrenals? Get rid of as much stress as possible. It's really, I hate to say it that way. See, detoxification is removing the toxic stressors from our body. So if you eat a bad food or you get a vaccine, you need to detox that out. Otherwise, your adrenals have to constantly compensate for it that way. The adrenals are just related to the stressors. And once again, if I jump over this table to hurt Fancy Nancy Gruzy, which I never would, okay, here's what happens. She's going to go through some mental stress. If she eats something bad, there is a stress. If you have a bad spine, or you actually have a bad finger, or you have a sliver in there, there's a physical stress. The job of a real doctor is to find those stressors and you to help manage them out of your life and then support the normal processes of the body. But you need to test them first. And remember, a food, an egg, an apple, an avocado can be a stress, organic or not. See, a lot of people say, Doc, well, I eat good so I know I don't have a physical stress. And I said, well, wait, have you been tested? No, but I eat organic tomatoes. Well, if you're allergic to tomatoes, organic's going to make you just as sick as toxic stuff is. Okay? That's why testing is so important. Next, Fancy Nancy.
What about hair loss for women? Such a huge thing for women, and nobody has answers, and a lot of my clients in the salon ask.
Oh, sure. Okay. Hair loss. Ladies, very simple. DHT. I know I'm telling you right now, dihydrotestosterone. It's very common with PCOS too. Okay? Remember, when you look at, for example, your estrogen levels, having that good hair growth, your DHEA, once again, and your testosterone levels, but your testosterone levels can actually convert under high stress, under high sugar. That's why when you see, for example, a woman has PCOS or they're having a high hair loss, they will give the drug metformin, which is more of a sugar drug. It inhibits that pathway, okay, that pathway that converts your hormone into DHT, which now is 10 times more potent than testosterone and actually contributes to not only hair there, but also less hair here, okay? So for example, understand DHT levels can actually be a significant level. Now, once again, can you be deficient in actually collagen, deficient in minerals? Yes. That's why nutrition is so important, because you want to have sufficiency to your body. So I tell people that's why a superfood smoothie every day. Now you want to mix it up with different ingredients on a daily basis so you don't become allergic to it that way. But that's why a smoothie is so important. But when you actually put enough good nutrients in your body and you actually are still losing hair, now you have a hormonal issue. And if you start, ladies, do this for. I love this. The internet. Just Google search it that way. It's just that clinically your doctor will do nothing besides manipulate your scalp with Propecia and other hair things, even for women, which is a toxic hormone anyways, because that's what it is. And then therefore, guess what? Trying to change the outside to try to change the inside. No, get the inside normal. Okay? Great question.
Is facial hair related to DHEA levels directly, or is that more towards...
facial hair and oily skin. Oily skin, DHEA has a very stimulatory effect to the sebaceous glands of the skin. So when I see a lot of acne and actually very oily skin, I'll look at all the testosterone levels because there's more than one. I'll look at the DHEA levels and I'll look at the estrogen levels that way.
When you do get rid of the stresses, will the adrenals naturally replenish, or are there ways to support them? Okay,
love that question. I absolutely love that question. Okay, Nancy, say that again because I want to go over that question again. Guys, ladies, gentlemen, listen to this question because I have the best answer for you on the planet.
When you get rid of the stresses, will the adrenals naturally replenish, or are there ways to support them?
Put it this way. I don't care what it is, okay? I don't care if I walk outside right now, it's 20 degrees, and I walk out in this t-shirt. My body is going to have to keep its temperature roughly around the 98.768 mark that way, okay? So my body's going to go under stress when I walk out there in a t-shirt, and it's going to change and keep it as normal as possible. If I do everything, if I cut my finger, my body's going to do everything possible to keep it back normal. Do you understand? Here's a genetic answer for you that's true. Your body is genetically programmed for normal. Let me say it again. Your body's genetically programmed for normal. So when it's not normal, you need to find the stressors that are triggering the genes that way. So the millisecond that you start to remove stressors, guess what your body does, Fancy Nancy? Goes back to normal. See, doctors in all the medical field, I hear the bull crap they say they go after causes. No, they don't. They manipulate end stages. They don't remove stressors from your body. Heck, do you understand the medication by definition is a stress? It's a toxin. Who said so? The people who made it. Okay, so understand, your body is so genetically programmed, the minute you start reducing those stressors, guess what? Your body's going to want to go back to normal. Now, don't get me wrong. Can you deplete your body of something? Yes. But if you're running the car 100 miles an hour and keep putting gas in and wondering why you're going through so much gas, get your darn foot off the pedal. Go back to 55 miles an hour and you'll use the tank at the normal rate. Okay? Same thing. So I don't have a problem. Here, let me say this. I'll say this, and I don't ever do this, but it's not a joke. Okay? I'm going to do this for you. Watch this. I'm going to do this for you to show you how simple it is. And Durang, I want you to get tested first so you know when to take this and actually why to take it. But if I just type in ashwagandha. Nancy, type this in the comments. Ashwagandha. Okay, so you guys have it for a reference. Now, once again, don't go out and buy this, please. Don't go and buy this. But I'm going to show you how simple it really is. Ashwagandha. ASHWANGAND. Okay. Just Google. Here's the great thing about Google. They spell it wrong, they'll change it. And if you go to WebMD, the most medical website in the world. Okay? The most medical website in the world. So I'm going to pull it up on WebMD here. Here we go. Sorry, you fix my mic here. Toot, toot, toot. So, if we jump up on WebMD and pull up ashwagandha, okay? Now, let's look at this. It says it right in the fourth sentence. Right in the fourth sentence here on WebMD. Okay, the most medical website in the world. All WebMD is just pulls off a PubMed library. Okay, it says right here, ashwagandha is used as an adaptogen to help the body cope with daily stress and a general tonic. Helps you cope with daily stress. What does it do? It helps your body adapt to you beating the crap out of it from physical, mental, and chemical stressors. So yes, and so here's what happens. Docs, now please do me a favor. Don't run out and go buy ashwagandha. Do you understand? Because I know what you're going to do, because a lot of you guys are under stress. Because here's what happens. Your stressors and your hormones change 4 times a day. When should you take it? Get my point? When should you take it? That's why testing is so important. That's why to know your body. Because you're going to find out that, guess what? Some women, their stress levels are high in the morning. Some are in the lunchtime. Some are evening. Some are all day. Some of the hormones are too high and too low. That's why it's so important to get tested. It's not hard to show people what to do when we know your body. When we know your body. But the millisecond that you start to remove those stressors, your body tries to adapt back to its normal. Great question. Fantastic question.
All right, I have another question here. What is the difference between DHEA and HGH?
Oh, see, well, just in their same name. Okay, human growth hormone, for example, is a whole different compound. I am going to be covering that actually even next week in the goji berry quick tip. Remember that. HGH and DHEA have 2 totally different effects on the body. See, and I guarantee the person asking this is because fitness. Because what they do is they confuse in generality and they go, DHEA is good for muscle building and fitness. HGH is the same thing that way. Trust me, like I said, let's go over that next. We're going to go over that hormone in the Hormoniously series that way. They're 2 totally different hormones that way. They have 2 totally different functions.
All right. Somebody said that they take ashwagandha every day. Is that okay?
It's never good to take anything every day for a long period of time. It's not. See what I'm saying? Because an herb, for example, is absolutely, it's not going to hurt you. See what I'm saying? So taking ashwagandha every day is not going to hurt you. It's just that it becomes less effective over time. Because once again, your body actually adapts to anything you do for a long period of time. Believe it or not, you take it every day for a long period of time, it's a possibility you could actually get what? Allergic to it. So you got to be careful because it's still a food substance that way. It's still an herb. It's still a food, okay? So just understand, it's going to hurt you? No. If you don't need it, you're going to pee it out. You know what I'm saying? And so I don't agree with taking everything every day for a long period of time that way. Okay, so just remember, it's something that you want to cycle on and off herbs, but that's where you have a doctor guiding you. Okay?
That's all I have. Hopefully I caught them all.
Yes.
That's everything.
Dr. Brenda, answer this question. Are these recordings on the YouTube channel? Yes, they are. Fancy Nancy puts them all together for us, puts them up on the YouTube channel, and they're there forever, as long as YouTube doesn't get rid of us. Okay, so yes, they're up there. So any other questions, Fancy Nancy?
I don't see anything else.
So, was that Jennifer, my high school friend that actually took the ashwagandha? Jennifer! Come on now, Jennifer. Jennifer and I went to school together, grade school together, high school together. Well, she moved through high school that way. But yes, Jennifer, please do not take ashwagandha every day, okay? You need to cycle on and off those things.
Can chronic stress lead to elevated tryptase levels? Tryptase.
Tryptase levels?
Can chronic stress lead to elevated tryptase levels?
Everything, put it this way. That's a double-edged sword question. Let me explain. If I were to actually attack Nancy right now, once again, do you ever notice, Nancy, I attack you a lot in the examples? Okay? If I were to go over and attack Nancy, right, all things actually elevate. Hormones, enzymes, everything elevates right away. Okay? There's only one thing that doesn't elevate under chronic stress. The immune system. It actually goes down. Because the immune system is very metabolically expensive, so it says, I'm going to save the energy for the stress, not for the bug. Okay? So therefore, it increases, but that decreases very quickly. Everything eventually runs out. So what happens is this. You can't really base your stress levels on where it's going to be because it can run out very quickly. So can chronic stress raise it? Yep, but chronic stress can lower it very quickly. Okay? Any other questions?
I don't see any other questions.
Okay. So guys, thank you so much for our Living Hormoniously series that way. I hope you are not living unhormoniously. We made that up today. We were talking about that way. It's kind of fun. And this, I appreciate you guys always watching. Please do me a favor. Like, share, comment. I believe that the videos that we put out consistently can change people's lives. As you know, once again, I repeat this constantly because it will always be a part of the Wellness Way. Is that, for example, our things for you are all informational. I will never sell you on any video. Just like I told you, don't go out and buy ashwagandha just because we talked about it. There's a lot of things I'll talk about, for example, that can actually do great things, but without proper testing, you're wasting your time and money. So thank you so much. My name is Dr. Patrick Flynn, the Hormone Whisperer. God bless you for always taking the time to watch this. Even if you watch it later, I appreciate it. I'm thankful every day when you guys tune in. Please put your comment in below, and hopefully one of you guys can join me in Hawaii.